Well, we're back working on the Delica. Today we're gonna be working on the electrical system. We're getting to the fun part. I have a whole bunch of stuff to install. DC to DC chargers, AC to DC chargers, power inverter. We have a solar panel. We have a solar charger controller. We have a big distribution panel. You know, we have a lot of fuses and wiring and a whole bunch of stuff to do to get this electrical system working. There's gonna be really 3 systems in the van. Number 1 is the 12-volt system that powers the van. Number 2 is the 12-volt system that powers the camper stuff. And then number 3 is the 120-volt system that powers the camper stuff. And all of those 3 systems have to work in harmony with each other. The electrical system I did in the bus worked really nicely, but it was not done cleanly at all. I mean, we had powers crossing grounds, we had power wires that were black, we had ground wires that were red. I used extension cords for the 120-volt wiring, which, you know, I still don't think was that bad, but definitely got some flack for that. So this time we're trying to do it differently. I'm trying to focus on routing everything very cleanly, and that's why I made this plate. This plate is going to bolt inside of the cabinet. It's gonna have all of the main electrical, you know, components to it, and it'll be able to bolt in and out with all the wires, with all the components attached to it. Once we get this all sorted, then we can start doing the 120-volt, the distribution block, and then actually running all the 12-volt system. So let's get started. We got all of this mounted, our 2 distribution blocks, all of our inline fuses, and then our cutout switch. The nice thing is that I drew out kind of where each wire is going to go. So the next step is to go ahead, make each wire. 2 gauge, 8 gauge. Well, this thing was still too long. I made it as short as I felt comfortable with, and it's too long. I decided just to be smart and move this down a little bit because there's plenty of room. Now that fits on there nicely. It's raining. It's like this gorgeous sunset, and it's raining? Ugh. This stuff can't get wet, so packing up. Stopped raining. I'm gonna try to get some more work done. All right, all the power wires are ran, going through the inline fuses, going through the cutoff switch. until it's done. Now obviously this isn't everything. You know, this has an AC inlet, this has an AC output, this has a remote, this has a remote, so there's gonna be more wires, but this is everything that will be on this plate that will be able to come in and out of the van easily. Not a single black wire crosses with a red wire. All of our fuses right in one easy spot. As simple as this looks, it took a long time to figure out. I don't want to say how long I was sitting over my notebook, drawing something, erasing it. No, that's not right. Drawing something else, erasing it. But I figured it out. And I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm gonna take everything off, and then I'm going to paint it black, and then tomorrow we'll put it in the van and start hooking up the rest of the stuff. This turned out sick. The satin paint on the wood grain. Let's go ahead and put it all back together. One thing I forgot to add is a power and ground cable going to the 12 volt distribution box, which will be, you know, off over there. Since I want to run the 12 volt along this line, I'm gonna do it before I put anything else on. Stack of wood, wooden workbench, they're the same thing, right? I screwed up somehow. And these are my last terminals. This thing is finally ready to go into the van, but first there is something we have to do to the van itself, and that, ladies and gents, is some insulation. This is where the electrical system's going, and we're gonna go ahead and insulate everything behind the electrical system. Previously, I've used like the foam board insulation. This fiberglass stuff is way better at insulating. It's also malleable, so it can fit in those crevices, and it's not flammable, and it's mold resistant. So we got our two cables coming off of our distribution blocks. The positive is going to go through a fuse going to the battery, and the negative is going through a shunt. I believe that's what you call it. And that's going to go to the device that measures the load, the capacity, and all that kind of stuff of the battery. So now we just have to connect this to the negative of the battery and that to the positive, and then we can see if this works or if it burns down the van. Flash check, all right, you know, those are all hooked up. Powers are going to power, grounds are going to ground. Power going to power, ground going to ground, ground going to ground, ground going to ground, all right. That's what I like to see. absolutely nothing. Yeah, 12.8 volts. So it's working. It's on. I did it. I actually did it. I've got a little bit more time left in the day, about half an hour. I'm going to go ahead and install the battery monitor, and then once that's installed, we'll plug something into the inverter and use it and see, you know, see the system work. Got it wired up. As you can tell, it's working, but I need to set all the parameters like max voltage, milliamp hours, amp hours, all that kind of stuff. Gonna plug this into the inverter. Got a normal plug. And put this onto that. Ah, it's working. As you can see, so it's pulling 8 amps, 100 watts. It's got resistance, capacity's going up, voltage is going down. It's a very quiet inverter. I'm gonna plug in the battery charger, the AC battery charger, and see if that works. 14.5 volts. Well, that's working too. It's all very quiet. From what I remember, the bus's system was louder, but to be fair, none of this stuff has been running very long, so the cooling fans probably haven't turned on yet. But if you look, it's got a green light on it. And that, yeah, I mean, doing something like this, it's one of the most rewarding things, because it's relatively easy, it's relatively basic. It just requires a well thought out plan and system. I think that's going to be it for this video. Obviously, we're not leaving the system like this. We want there to be outlets, we want there to be interior lights, exterior lights, all sorts of stuff. So in the next video, we are going to continue work on the electrical system, like wiring up the junction block with all its nice things, cleaning up all of the wires, actually mounting a input, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I want to give all you guys that watch these Delica videos a huge thanks. Unfortunately, they haven't been performing very well on the channel. A Delica video gets 30 to 50% of the views of an Eclipse video, so that's certainly disappointing because I'm super passionate about the project and I want it to do well. But I do know that there are still a lot of you guys out there that really enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, look, I got an e-bike, sponsored. You'll see that in an upcoming video. It's really cool. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. Goodbye. Let's see.